Awesome stuff. Got a chance over the weekend to play quite a bit of that and get dominated by some influencers in that section. I'm now joined by Joe Lansford and Joey Seamus. Thank you so much, gentlemen, for joining me today. How are you doing in this new year?
Yeah, doing great. Doing great. How about you?
I'm doing good. Thank you so much.
Yeah, good. Happy to be back.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely. I'm going to give the floor to you, gentlemen, for a second here.
Yeah, we got one special call out before we get started to the greatest EP of all time, Anna Donlan. Happy birthday.
Happy birthday.
Happy birthday, Anna. Thank you so much for all you've done. Expect more throughout the day. And thank you, everybody, again, for joining us. We're about to go over some maps here with the devs. Again, gentlemen, thank you for joining me. Lotus, as we start talking about this, another map we get with 3 sites, kind of changing things up once again, not completely changing it, but delivering something again to the players to start to work their brain around.
Yeah, the 3-site format is something we first started with Haven, and we thought it was kind of a cool format. And maybe this is something that isn't just a one-off thing for a map, that it's really a model that we can reuse for maps in the future. And this is kind of our first go with that, making another one.
And with this map, we see overviews here. What, Joey, was kind of the idea with this one? With 3, is there anything you want to specifically make sure does or doesn't happen? We do see that there's revolving doors. How did that all kind of play into creating the map?
Yeah, I think with the 3-site map, flexibility is just really important, right?
Okay.
You're upping the amount of options that either team has at any given time. And I think that's like really exciting to see how teams are going to kind of like plan around that. And I think one thing too with Lotus is, B-site was like more of an option. There's more ways in and out of B-site. Yeah.
With Lotus, looking at how kind of the doors work and whatnot, we spoke a little bit about this before previously, but is it kind of an intention to always throw something like that into a map, something that'll spin, something that players will have to kind of figure out, or will be able to play around?
So with Pearl, we wanted to make a map that didn't have a mechanic. It was purely geo-driven. Just because from a design perspective, we wanted to say like, hey, our maps aren't defined by a mechanic, by having a mechanic. That said, we like them. We think that they enhance and really lend themselves well to kind of agent abilities and utility compositions, all of that stuff. With the doors, we thought that this introduced some really cool movement and rotation opportunities, as well as introducing some like unique utility options.
Awesome. Yeah, I instantly thought of like a fireplace when I saw this. I was like, oh my gosh, I wish this part was like, it's like almost a mansion, and this part was just like.
That was where the inspiration came from the Indiana Jones scene where like him and his dad are tied back to back in the chairs in the fireplace, and they light the room on fire. Yeah.
I want to get to that in a second, but firstly, without kind of defining it, what kind of play do you expect to see before we get into the intricacies of the architecture of Lotus? What kind of play do you expect to see on Lotus?
I think the big one will be movement at kind of like a strategic layer. Moving, rotating, fakes, all that stuff. I think the way that the doors play and kind of the flow control they have of allowing kind of unique movement between each lane is the big thing that we're going for with this map. I don't know if you have anything else to add, Joey?
Yeah, I just think like the doors add this kind of new like sub-objective. They're really important to control. I think something that we saw a lot in testing is like, it's really important to leave a lurk behind to watch the doorway, so you're not just going to get kind of crushed as you go into a main.
Yeah, I'd be the first to say I was destroyed by some extravagant Yoru play from Ethos and others on that map. There's so many corners and angles. It seems like flashes as well that can cut and get around something reign supreme. A lot of, like you said, quick gameplay there. Looking at, again, the inspirational and notable concepts of bringing Lotus to life, where did those come from the team?
So the gameplay inspiration, like I said, the original idea came from Indiana Jones and the rotating door. Once we moved through the design phase and started working on the art elements, the thematic wrapper, India, we were working on Harbor at the time and thought there was a cool opportunity to kind of tie in his backstory into this space. And with India, it has such like, thousands of years of rich culture, architectural history and whatnot. And so we really wanted to kind of do justice with an authentic recreation like inspired by all of these different Indian elements. So Indian stepwells, rock cut architecture. We used a lot of southern architectural styles. Dravidian specifically is something that we tried to kind of recreate. Obviously not one for one. It's with our Valorant style and whatnot. But India was excellent. We worked with a wonderful consultant, same one that worked with agents team from Harbor, Dr. V. She was great.
It's amazing to see how intimate the team gets with those aspects of the game and caring about putting all of those kind of correct elements to the map as well. So when it can be experienced by players, but also recognized by those that know what has gone into it. It's kind of a full level for everybody. Envisioning this space, what was it like to create this, a 3-site map, but also create all those intricacies of it and get it right? Were there troubles? Were there kind of setbacks? How was it making Lotus?
Initially, when this idea for the map started, I had started off with a space station idea in my head, and it was 3 sites, and I wanted to kind of get people kind of moving around the map. So same goals generally, but it started with a mechanic that completely locked out a wing of the map each round. So say for example, round 1, A is closed, only B and C are open. Then B is closed on round 2, A and C are open. And so it encouraged teams, sentinels to set up on a different site each round and kind of think about strategy. This round, I have these options, but let's plan for this thing next round when we're better set up for, the way that the map will be laid out. Turned out it just wasn't that fun. It was like an interesting mechanic, but it was a little bit frustrating, and it wasn't really, there were no like great returns. It wasn't really bringing a whole lot. So we kind of pivoted back to just the 3-site map. And then the doors sort of like captured a little bit of that in a much more palatable and like understandable way.
All right. Looking at kind of the design, does that kind of change when you figure out the art a little bit? I've noticed this map obviously has very tall structures everywhere in this, and the angles are super fun to play with. Do you get to kind of like throw the art in there as well and figure out like, okay, we have a lot of archways we can work with this kind of architecture, or there's a lot of just circle doorways and stuff. Does that become a way that the map changes throughout creation when you figure out the art and how the style works?
Sure. So we're always design first. We lock down the gray box really, and then really the art comes after that. That said, the art will influence some of that. I think, Joey, if you have any stories from like art kind of informing some of the design here and some of the I don't know, concessions.
Something that's like kind of new on this map is we have a lot more organic shapes. I think A main in particular, where like has like these big roots, and that took a lot of fiddling, and we had to kind of like get the art dialed in just right with like what Joe was thinking with the block out. And a lot of other ways too. Like you said, we're design first. It's usually pretty locked in, but we do kind of go in and make sure that there's like, maybe there's one too many cubbies as we continue testing, and we'll kind of like cut those things out here and there. But yeah, overall, and just big shout out to the art team. I think they crushed it with this one. They put a lot of love into it. So
Definitely.
I kind of want to poke to what the feel maybe the team's trying to go with, that's the right word, with the map kind of always changing and dynamic as you go from section to section. You go towards C, it's sand, dirt, mounds. You go towards mid, it's a little more structured and whatnot. And then on the right, there's rubble and grass. It's almost like you're going across a city in the same time as just this one compound.
Yeah. So each area we kind of break up, as you noticed, like in sort of artistic thematics. Reason being, it helps players kind of identify where they are. So if I'm over on A and I see, there's grass and it's a little brighter, and then I go to the interior B and it's kind of interior lighting and a lot more structure, and then I go to C side and you have these cool god rays coming in over the water and everything. They're each very visually distinct, so easy to identify.
That's really fun to play with. I like that a lot. Also today, I didn't mention in the overview, but we are going to get some community questions in. I think we'll tap into some of those in just a minute.
Cool.
Or just right now, I should say. First one, and I don't have who they came from, so I do apologize. How did the idea of the moving door on Lotus come up? We did kind of talk about that before. Was it yours? Was it somebody else's? Was it the first meeting? Was it the middle meeting? When did it come through?
So the doors started like man, 4 years ago or something.
What?
Yeah.
No way.
So I was working on a like prototype map that, like I said, this idea started as inspired by the Indiana Jones scene where they're back to back on the doors. It originally, the original design actually had the floor plate, so you could like be on the floor and just get spun around with it.
Oh, okay.
There were some engineering concerns about putting utility on there and needing the utility to move, so we ended up having to cut that part of it, unfortunately. But yeah, I built a map about 4 years ago with that idea, and it had been just kind of sitting in the back pocket as something that I wanted to revisit for a while. And then when that initial kind of lockout mechanic didn't work, we brought the doors over and like, oh, maybe these will work, and shuffled some lanes around and stuff, and then sure enough, we finally get to ship the doors.
How happy were you?
I was very happy.
Was it
I
always
love the doors.
button activated, or was it kind of maybe step activated at some point, or was it just kind of wall?
It has
switch?
always been
Yeah.
the button switch. Yeah.
Right on. When did you start developing Lotus? Almost 4 years ago.
Yeah, I guess if you count that prototype map like 4 years ago, in reality about a year. Yeah, we tend, our maps are about a year cycle from when we start early design iteration, and then all through art cycle and everything.
That's pretty awesome. Next one, what are some mechanics that were brought up in discussion but never happened? Now I think this is a tricky one too, because I think like any of the things they bring up could always happen.
Yep, that's true. What did we have?
I think the lockout's just like the really big one to talk
Okay.
about.
Yeah.
I know you tried a lot of different ideas though. I think at one point, you had a layout that looked kind of like a fidget spinner.
Yep.
Ooh.
Yeah, a weird layout with like attacker spawn in the mid. It was awful. So
Whoa.
I don't even think we play tested that one.
I don't think
I think
we
I took a
playtested that
picture
one.
and was like, here's a meme shot of
Yeah.
the map.
Yeah.
Waiting for Slack to be like, oh, I like that. Okay, we're running with it.
Right.
The lockout though was pretty interesting, and I think maybe you tried some like different geo arrangements per round, something like that maybe. But yeah,
Yeah.
we go through a lot of different stuff. We have a big doc to go through. So.
Yeah.
I'll switch to this one before the next one then is night maps. Or even like weather in that instance. I know weather can usually affect quite a bit for PCs in general, but like thinking about that, tapping into it, what about ideas of night and weather?
Definitely. So with Pearl, we explored a little bit of that kind of moodier lighting. Lighting is very sensitive with all of our maps. It's not just you play the map one time and you experience it and you're done. Like we want people to play these maps hundreds, thousands
Absolutely.
of times. So they need to be fairly inviting. So having kind of gloomy weather and stuff is always something we're a little bit worried about. But we've been testing the waters with Pearl, and it's gone over pretty well.
Yeah.
So it's not off the table. I think maybe one
Maybe
of
one
Joey's
day.
maps in the future.
Yeah.
Full night vision. Or you got to go in night vision.
Yeah. Like every time that we get together and kind of pitch new ideas for the map thematic, like every time there's some night
There's
pitch
always
in
been
there.
that, yeah.
Yeah.
Some sort of neon night city. It's always
Yeah.
pitched, yeah.
Floor fog.
Yeah.
So personal thoughts on composition metas for the new map. What do you like to play? What did you like to see on your team, etc.?
You want to go first?
Yeah, I mean, I think a lot of the meta picks are pretty strong on here. I think we saw a lot of Sova and Breach. I think Breach on A in particular is very strong. I think Astra is good on the map. I think we were we were making Mage at the same time, or sorry, Harbor at the
Yep.
same time, and so we see a lot of Harbor as well. But I'm really excited to see what teams kind of come up with that we didn't think about.
Yeah, I think wall smokers too. Like, I think aren't terribly strong. Like personally, I found more success with dome smokers, especially like trying to work A.
I did see that Omen.
Yeah, I think dome smokers will be quite good on this map. Omen, I think, is quite good on this map as well. So, yeah, I hope we'll see some more of those.
Heck yeah. Right after this question, I do want to give you guys a chance to just say anything you want to get out there or let people know about the new map or anything. But I want to ask both of you as map designers, what's kind of your favorite thing to put in a map or know that's going to map? Maybe like this corner angle or the steps up to an angle. Like, what's kind of your favorite thing to be like, oh yeah, we got that in that map again?
For this one, for me, it was definitely the doors.
Doors, okay.
The doors were a thing. But one of the things that I do on like kind of all of my maps at some point is have like a weird trick jump or something.
Ooh. All right.
most of them don't actually ship, but I try them all at some point. Yeah, I'm a big fan of like weird parkour maps and stuff like that. So yeah.
I feel that. I feel that.
Trick
Joey?
jumps are always fun to make. I think for me, and you know, these change over time because like we go from block out to art, but I like to build like lineups for different utilities in our games, whether it's like a Boombot lineup or Sova Dart, or for me personally, like Viper Mollies, but that stuff is really fun.
I always wondered that. I'm like, did they go to like throw this Roomba and then say no, ghost back and change the wall by a pixel and throw the Roomba again and come back? Yeah, that's funny. Final thoughts, final words, Joey, please.
Super excited to see Lotus out there. I hope y'all like it. I hope we did justice to all of the Indian inspiration that we took. Enjoy.
Yeah, can't wait to see players out there. And again, happy birthday, Anna.
Yeah. Happy birthday, Anna.
Joey, thank you so much. Don't go anywhere. We still have much more. 2 segments left here. We're going to be going to narrative next. We're back. Thanks for sticking around. We are now here with the narrative team, David and Tim, not Kim. Kim actually couldn't make it today, unfortunately, so we do have David Nottingham and Tim Lemke. Gentlemen, thank you for joining me. How are you this new year?
Doing great.
Okay, it's Monday.
Yes, it is.
So, you know, it's Monday.
It is. I give the floor to you, gentlemen, for a quick moment.
Oh, thank you. Yeah, so Lotus.
I mean, happy birthday.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, I thought sorry. I
Someone's
thought we were
birthday.
team.
Yeah, happy birthday.
Happy
where's the
birthday,
camera?
Anna!
Happy birthday, Anna! There's supposed to be cake. Is there cake?
We're vibing on Monday.
Okay.
There is cake,
All
but you
right.
don't get it yet.
Not yet.
Okay.
Especially not now.
Okay.
But no, this is amazing because we dip into Revelation. It's not so much like a, hey, cool, that's the new map, it's stuff, but we get to be kind of intimate with the agents of Valorant. Where has the narrative taken us here in short, kind of, as we start 2023?
Well, one of the things with any major content release, maps, agents, right, we're always thinking ahead, and we have this kind of linear narrative and this kind of story that we're trying to tell, which means that every time we drop something like a map, which is a big part of the universe, we want it to reveal some newer textures, a bigger part of the universe itself. And so last year, we were really starting to connect together this sort of longer journey that really started with Harbor. And when we introduced Harbor to players as this agent on the run, discovered this ancient artifact that's the source of his power, but then also ends up, as you see in the cinematic here, being kind of a key to unlocking the access to this mysterious lost city. And what this lost city is kind of showing us is like, hey, we've kind of seen like hints of ancient artifacts before, right? Like Yoru's mask and now Harbor's bracelet. But like, here's an entire location on Omega Earth that predates what we talk about when we reference First Light. And so there's sort of this ancient technology that predates even the near future setting that the game takes place in, which is pretty cool.
That's amazing to see, because really everything's kind of been like today or what people think future day, but it's kind of like now-ish. And you're like, oh, okay, they use things, but where are these powers? What are these powers? How is this happening? So that's really, really awesome to see. And there's so many things to keep together, especially down this journey of narrative. How do you keep it all together? How do the teams work together to make sure you're hitting those marks, you're pulling out information from here that back...
Well, everything starts, I mean, so Joe was talking on the previous one, everything starts with the design and the idea of a space itself, right? And so it's like you're kind of molding with that clay. And so in this particular case, there was a really strong concept that the maps team had developed as a thematic that we were really excited about, and suddenly we realized, oh my God, this is how we can connect together all these things.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so like, you know, in terms of what drives some of this stuff, it really can come from anywhere. And then, of course, with the cinematic, you know, Tim can speak to as well, like some of the inspiration, because I know there's a lot to unpack in the cinematic as well, especially if you're a fan of the agents, and you're getting to see some of your favorite agents in aspects you haven't seen before, right, Tim?
Yeah. Yeah, I mean that's where we started really with episode 6 was with our agents. We knew that we wanted to tell a little bit of a broader story that shows the Valorant universe in ways that we've never really seen it before. Like most of our cinematics take place in one location. This has multiple locations, and we wanted to show. Yeah, you're seeing the characters here. A different side of our agents. You know, these are our Omega agents. They come from a different world. Their world is very different, but these are different shades of our agents that hopefully are recognizable. And yeah, I think we have some more agent concepts here. Yeah, so Sage, you know, Sage very much is a healer. She's a support character. She's a mentor. She's a leader on Valorant. But she's also, you put a weapon in her hand and she's just as deadly as anybody else. You know?
I loved seeing Sage in this video. Like, so Tim is here. Tim works very, you know, he's one of the key people working on the cinematics along with Kim, and you know, there's a lot of collaboration. So a lot of the concept art you see there, that is developed by people on the character team who live and breathe like Sage and all those characters.
Yeah.
And then
I
it really
completely
is
noticed.
like, but this was one where it was like Tim had this sort of fire as well to really want to show this other side of Sage that we know she has, but we just haven't really seen her that from her before. And it's like, you know, she's not just a healer, right?
Yeah.
She's not.
Exactly. This video reveals so much about so many agents, and there's like no dialogue, right? You literally, sometimes them looking at each other speaks mounds, right? There's the Sage and the Omen. There's KJ and Raze. Even when Jet takes the photo, and KJ and Raze are sitting there, the glance they gave each other literally broke me down inside. I was like, oh my God.
You had a thing that I remember
literally,
you would
you
say
feel it
about
all.
that. What in that moment, what you're trying to capture?
Look at, you know, hope you find someone that looks at you the way that Raze looks at Killjoy. What's
Yeah,
that?
yeah.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
nailed it.
Yeah, and like a lot of our players really picked up on that. But yeah, like we spent a lot of time working with Blur, our animation studio, to really get so much of that performance through. Like even just subtle things like, you know, Fade looking on her phone, like that kind of like everyone is you can relate to that staring at your phone, but she's like deeply concentrated.
Yeah.
And yeah, like even, you know, Omen trying to focus on trimming a bonsai and losing that focus. And so yeah, so much of the CG was about connection, was about our characters and about showing that sure they've got fights to fight, but they're also kind of fighting internal battles and yeah, so it's cool that people were picking up on that stuff.
The other thing about this was in terms of how we try to connect all this stuff together. So these cinematics take a lot of time. So I think, you know, the map takes about a year, as Joe was saying. These cinematics take about 9 months.
Yeah.
And so Tim and that team, they're working on concepts way ahead of like other work that's been done yet. And so, but we want everything to feel connected in. So that's where I feel like we really built this muscle where it's just like we're one team, we're hanging out together. There's just a lot of creative collaboration that has to happen to make this stuff kind of come to life. And also we want to earn those moments. Like we want players to feel like those are earned. So for example, even with the Killjoy and Raze moment, that hasn't come out of a vacuum, right? And that connects into other content, whether it's through live story or visuals like on social media, like things that we've been using to sort of expand the canvas and really show these interior lives of our agents.
Yeah, and one of the connections too, Harbor in his trailer, you know, he's a guy that's known for kind of jumping and maybe doesn't have good depth perception or something. He's jumping a little bit too.
I love it.
The gaps are a little bit too far. So like even that parallel in episode 6 where you see him, you know, jump a ravine and almost miss. You know, he always needs an arm there to grab him up. But yeah, those things are definitely developed in parallel. You know, we're starting 9 months ahead, but then as you know, the narrative team, as the product team is working on stuff, we're like, okay, how can we also thread that needle? And so yeah, there is a lot of stuff in episode 6 that that's we hope is connected to things that we've released. released in the past.
Harbor doesn't have depth perception. Is that canonical now
No,
too?
well, maybe that could be one
Yeah.
reason, but I think he's just someone who's confident, and
Yeah.
he's gonna take any
you
challenge and just be like,
got
"I
to
can do
have
this."
those moments.
But
the
he
big-
needs some, he needs just like a good controller.
Yeah.
You need your duelist, you need your support, you need your team behind you to follow up, So yeah.
And then with Lotus, obviously,
Yeah.
this piece itself encompasses a lot more than just the Lotus map. There's a separate piece that comes out that kind of fills in more of the story of the map itself. And that's another part of this is whenever we release a new map, each map has a story, its own story to tell, like it has a reason for existing
lot of little
in the
pieces.
world. And so
Yeah.
that's something we're excited about too when the map launches, is for people who care about the lore, is as you're getting accustomed to this new map, which looks beautiful, right? It's like an absolutely stunning map, but you can also find these little pieces that hopefully
Right.
reveal like something new about the world and the universe as well.
It's so cool to see and know and see in the video, and then you have your cards, and then your little things in the battle pass, and all
Yeah.
of those things that might connect a little
Yeah.
bit of the story to make you realize more. It's so cool how intricate you guys have made it in developing that. Quick, what are any lore callbacks, Easter eggs in that video before we do some community questions? You would want people to know they may not
They're in there.
glean the first time
Yeah.
around.
Yeah, definitly rewatch. Rewatch a couple times.
Maybe a poke.
I think we saw there was a teaser for Astra, years ago now.
Okay.
It feels like, her gauntlet interacting with water. There's some interesting things there. Like Sage's locker was a big one that people called out. What's Fate up to in that club?
Yeah, what you doing?
There's a lot
Okay.
to unpack, I think, and yeah, David mentioned there's the map trailer that we just released. There's some more stuff coming out, and yeah.
I
More
think
than meets the eye.
also for people who engage with the lore community
Yeah.
and watch some of the videos and are looking at all the different live story connections, you'll be piecing together things as well. Like we know, for example, that there was this kind of race to discover this lost city
Right,
that was
someone's
going on
already there.
between Alpha and Omega. Who's going to get there first, right? And the Alpha agents had sent Harbor and Astra and Sky out, and so there was actually 3. But then you don't see Sky in the video. But what do you hear before is
Right.
like, well, she had to stay behind to fight off some adversaries that were kind of chasing them, right? And so that was another fun thing where we got to we always have a movie in our minds, right, when we're creating this stuff. Like, I think when we watch this ourselves, we're like, these are all snippets of
Yep.
what could easily be like this 2-hour movie. And so we want to, so we always want to find things, like we did something similar with Fade, with this sort of audio drama. And we wanted to give Sky her moment as well. And so that was what you saw, that piece, for those who watched live, and they got to hear that.
All right, gentlemen. Community questions. You're at the whim
do
of them
it.
now. What is happening at the end of the map cinematic? The off-screen reference to Omega Astra.
Something's gonna,
Something
maybe a bit
happening?
more might come, right?
Yeah,
I think we've got to sit on our hands on that one.
yeah,
Okay.
something to do with well,
That is also an answer.
There'll be some more, when the map launches, just
Yeah.
watch this space.
have some follow-up.
There's 4 here. Well, it's kind of the same. Is Omen single? What's going on with the bonsai? Does he knit?
Oh my God, you can take that.
I mean, I've never asked Omen if he's single.
Fair enough.
Or is he
got-
multiple?
He's got a lot going on,
Married to
He's,
himself.
Yeah.
Another clone.
But
Shout out.
does he? So he does knit. He seems like he does a lot of things that help him focus,
Mm-hmm.
and I think there's just something really fun about that contrast, about kind of like one of our edgiest, most mysterious character doing things that are a little bit kind of simple, and but yeah, he does a lot of things to help him focus his mind. So yeah, I don't know. Anything else?
Could overdo some of that.
Yeah,
Right.
I think we
Well,
all
yeah.
we all need a little bonsai.
We all need a little bonsai in
whenever
our
I think
life.
of that Omen thing we
Yeah.
talked about earlier, I think of Omen in one and the other world, in the one Omen just thinking that the knitting is just such an aggressive act, but he must cut bonsais.
Yeah, I feel like the Omens would like give each other some knitting or
Oh,
some
true.
tips, like
And they just share.
Like I use this shear, and or like this cross knitting is good. So
Big one next. Whoever asked this, good job. Gotta ask, Val Kane. How about that? Valkane, maybe?
We'd watch it.
I mean, yeah, that would be amazing.
Yeah. But no plans.
Who,
as of
who, who do we? Yeah,
Yeah,
who do we have to talk to make that happen?
Yeah, yeah.
It's Anna's birthday
All right.
today.
Oh, that is true.
With people,
She likes
see,
it?
people on
She
the
likes it.
inside want it. We're getting there.
We definitely look. All we can say is that we've built a world where we feel like we have characters and stories, and there's so much more beneath the layer than even what we've revealed so far. Right now, this amazing video game is where we're hyper focused, and we love playing within that canvas. But
And
Who knows?
I love the comments. I love reading the comments because it shows that these characters feel real. They feel
Yeah.
like
Yep.
they feel like relatable characters that you could see in a film or a show. And to me, like that's a great sign that we're doing something right. So yeah, we would love to watch it.
that's your non-answer answer.
Perfect. Before I let you go, if it can be real fast, what's next 2023 so people know what to keep an eye out for?
Yeah, so obviously we're starting the year with the launch of a new map. That's a pretty big deal. It's very exciting. There's some really amazing stuff coming. You're going to hear about next from the PC team. But also like this map launch from a narrative point of view, it's kind of the end cap of the movie in our head that was this like harbor is going to
Okay.
take us on this journey to Lotus. Now we sort of turn the page. So for 2023, we'll be starting a new journey. I would expect that we may see some new agents joining Valorant this year as well. And there is a character who we've heard from before who's out for revenge. And that is something we will find out more about this year, and it's not Agent 8. That's all I'm going to say.
To be continued from the narrative team. All right, gentlemen, thank you so much for your time.
Thank
Have a great
you.
new year.
Thank
we'll
you.
probably see you in a few months for more
Yeah.
of this good inside info.
Visions in my head of this, you don't know the half of it. I got dreams of looking up, high as I can get. But nothing feels like how it feels, to know these things I don't know yet. The weight of everything, and everything's just thread. Sometimes, I'm trapped inside and I don't know what I'm gonna do.
We are back on the attack with some premium content. I'm joined by Preeti and Sean.
Happy birthday, Anna!
Happy birthday, Anna.
And we're about to go over some content. We just saw the Araxis trailer. Actually, really sick. I've been using it all weekend, variants included. The purple one's really good.
Yeah.
But looking at this skin line, what was kind of the idea when you wanted to start it? You make a skin line that still kind of has some movement to it. It's not dragon lore, but it's still got some breathing to it, and I loved it.
Yeah, it is kind of like this mechanical dragon
Yeah.
sort of thing in a way. But yeah, it usually starts out with just like, what's something that we haven't really done before, either tech-wise or thematic-wise. We've done a number of different sci-fi skins, and this is just a little bit of a different one, where it's just like, okay, we're going a little bit kind of like bio-harvesting, like a little organic, a little bit more hard surface and things like that. So we wanted to try it out, give it a different sort of alien feel in a way, something that is just different to what we've done so far.
Right on. Preeti, are these things in the universe? Or is like Araxis kind of a skin line that's showing some cool technology?
I think all the skins are basically alt fantasies. Actually, funny enough, one of the last comments I saw on the internet on Reddit was, "This doesn't feel like it fits in the game, but that's amazing." And I think that's that really deep, cohesive fantasy where you're like, am I playing Valorant? Am I playing another game? But also this really fits, but it also doesn't.
Yeah, yeah. What is the kind of difficulty? You almost make your job even harder when you come out with cool stuff, because then you got to one up yourself.
Damn
Like,
it, yeah.
What is that task of coming up with a weapon and then getting good audio? Because this has some of the best audio for a gun shooting, firing in this game.
Oh, literally, I think it's the best. Like when I first heard it, I was a little worried. I was like, wait, is this too much? So we put it in front of our like design team to like play test with it, and it came back with like really, really positive reception. And I was like, maybe we can do even more. And our audio guy really, really nailed it. The Bulldog, I think, is like the best.
Yeah.
Best. I mean, I don't use Bulldog, but best firing audio on a Bulldog. Vandal, absolutely. Shorty. Actually, they're all winners.
Yeah.
I think. Yeah.
And it's good that we have a premium shorty skin. That's like not very common that we have that.
Yeah.
That's true.
Yeah. The last
Yeah,
one was
it
like
looks good.
before that. I think like Prelude to
Prelude,
Chaos,
yeah.
and then like Oni before that.
How hard is it to stop adding to a skin? You're like, we can put this on. Well, then maybe.
Oh,
do we
God,
want to
don't
counter
even-
on
Yeah,
it? Do we want to
it's-
take the counter off?
That's literally like
God,
the
yeah.
Tetris that we play with everything, where it's just
Yeah.
like, what if we did this and what if we did this? There's so many things that we tried with this that we ended up having to cut, either because it just didn't work for gameplay or for time or whatever the case is.
Yeah,
But
yeah.
we're always trying to find ways to push.
So you said a little bit of Alien, whatnot. It was like a full inspiration or like notable things for the gun that really wanted you to make this. What were you guys thinking?
A lot of stuff.
Yeah, I mean, again, like I said, it was like we always go into our heads and try and make
Yeah,
our own
yeah.
like IPs or things like that when we're coming up with this. So a long time ago when we were working on Ion, actually, we talked about wanting the trailer for Ion to show like a war between like two different like alien civilizations or something like that. And we're like, okay, if that was like the good one, maybe this is the bad one. And we always try and like have things like that.
Ooh.
And we try and imagine them together.
I actually like thinking of Araxis as the bad eye.
Yeah.
Oh,
That's
they
pretty
definitely
sick,
they're
actually.
yeah.
That's kind of
they're
sick.
the bad boys.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I like that a lot. I didn't even kind of consider that.
Araxis also, the initial concept sketch was like super, super old, right? It was like
it was like maybe about a year and a half.
no, even older. We tested this concept with players like 3-4 years ago, and I remember I really liked it because it was so pointy and angular. There was one that was similar to it, and I was like, looks like somebody stepped on it.
Oh,
That wasn't this one, but yeah, it's come a very long way, so it's very cool to see it in game. And what's actually been super cool too is to see everyone's takes on what inspired it, because you can tell when people started gaming or like you know what I mean, based on like where they think the reference comes from. So it's been really
Interesting.
fun, yeah,
That's
to see
pretty
like
cool.
like they totally copied this. I'm like, we didn't. There's like 50 different references here, but I see what era of games you play based on what you're interested in.
The most accurate one that I saw was an armadillo. That was like, someone was just like, this is what it is. I'm like, you're right.
True.
That's exactly what it is.
True. Firing armadillo.
Yeah.
I feel like that could work. That could work. With the finisher on this gun, it's actually pretty crazy. And we were playtesting on Lotus the other day with it, or influencer testing, and we didn't notice until somebody looked up and they had multiple kills that it actually connects all of the frags that you
Yeah.
got within the map.
Yep.
Yeah, and that was actually an idea that we had that was inspired by the trailer, because that wasn't the original intent.
Okay.
And we were originally just going to have like the single beam, similar almost to Ruination, right? Where it's just like this big thing in the sky. And we tried, this is where I talk about, pushing. We tried doing some crazy things with this, where if you actually step into that beam, it would just like, portal you up. And, so, and it broke gameplay
I
in
forgot about
so
that.
many
Oh,
different
no.
ways. Yeah, we couldn't do it.
Oh God, yeah, like
Bring it back.
they were like playtesting on I think Icebox and Split, and they're like, you can get to where you need to much easier because of this little like floaty thing. And didn't we have we thought we fixed it, and we didn't, and it happened
Yeah.
to somebody, and
Yeah,
it's like,
it
what
was
if you're
weird.
jet? What if you like
We
updraft
tried
while
to make
you're
it
in
work.
it?
We're like, oh, if there's a delay or if there's something.
What if you're defusing the bomb? And I know,
bomb,
like,
it pulls you off of the bomb, yeah. So
my word, yeah.
we ended up making the change, right? Instead of it being the single beam that pulls you up, it would be a number of beams that spawn based off of the kills that the weapon got, not that you got, which is a thing. So there could technically be
Right,
9
because
beams.
it's like weapon
It's-
energy
Yeah,
almost,
yeah,
too,
yeah.
because in the video, it's just poured back into
Yeah,
another
if it's just like
axis.
passed around, yeah, it could,
Oh,
doesn't matter.
snap.
Yeah, yeah.
Just be the last weapon standing and just
Exactly.
see all of these. Wow, that's actually pretty cool. I like that a lot. Did that itself kind of increase, or was right off the bat it was like let it just be the weapons kind of finisher?
Yeah, I
for
think
everybody.
with most skins that have some sort of interactive element, like you look at RGX where it's got the kill counter, or
Right,
Doodle Buds where it
cross.
has like the progression thing, we always go back and forth to be like, should it be about the weapon or about the player? And in this case, because we're trying to dive really hard into that fantasy, we were like, let's make it about the weapon. And it doesn't matter who the player is, it's the weapon that's actually harvesting the energy. It does all
Yeah,
that
yeah,
stuff.
yeah. It is cool because it feels like your weapon is super alive when you're using it too,
Yeah.
so that's cool. Future skin teases, we kind of look forward a little bit. I'm also going to ask you about favorite Battle Pass stuff.
Yeah.
Can you tease anything that people might want to see, that people have been talking about? Can you tease anything?
Can't usually tease anything. I
We-
threatened this one to not tease too much.
I was so ready. I came in today. I was like, I'm going to talk about
You
this.
you
this.
chose violence
Yeah, yeah.
in that meeting.
No, I think
He tried.
we did. We talked. So we are making more. We're working on non-edgy pink skins.
We are making it.
Oh, there
Yeah,
it is.
Yeah.
People
That
have been
was
asking
going
for
to
it.
be a community
Right,
question, but
right.
thank you.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There it is.
That's the big
Working on
Confirmed?
though, it's not coming
Yeah,
out
working on it.
anytime
Yeah.
soon.
You got to do it right.
Yeah,
You got to
exactly,
do it right, exactly. Let's see. We are doing something. We're making some cosmetics for VCT lock-in, which I'm very excited about.
Very cool.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
We are working on new melee weapons. We just saw the newest archetype that we have with cryostasis, the big hammer that you get.
Yeah, yeah.
There's going to be more like new types of weapons that we'll have for melee bundles throughout the year.
Like rocket fist.
I mean, anything.
Yeah, yeah. I like that. I like that a lot. Did you mention that on Reddit?
What?
I didn't see this question.
We're on
Melee
Reddit.
archetypes in 2020.
Oh yeah, I was.
He
I
did
was-
go on Reddit.
Yeah, I was.
Good.
I was on Reddit and I was talking through. It was like
I
a
just
long
glanced
thread
over that one.
about Araxis. Yeah, and it was just like like a lot of players were looking at the Araxis melee, and just from like the screenshots or something like that, they weren't like, oh, it's not really that cool. It doesn't have a lot of things. But then when they see the trailer, like, oh, the animation. So I went on Reddit and I was just like explaining like this is how we think about melees. This is why you actually see some reuse, because this one, even though the animations are the same as Chrono Void, it does a little bit different.
Yeah.
It has the cool like movement that goes in there, and we try and like make them exciting even though they are reused. But at the same time, we are also trying to make new ones.
I'm just ready to like have you just a jet knife. Just give me one of Jet's daggers. It'd be so funny, or like a hidden assassin blade.
Oh yeah,
The melees can be so much fun.
yeah. We have so much opportunity.
Oh my word, I'd love. I think that's one thing everybody would want to get their hand on, the list that would just go in the back room of maybe this, maybe this.
Oh,
maybe
no.
This.
I mean-
Like, please.
Everything has been thought of, probably tried. There are things that go back to 2015, 2016 that's when we did the first butterfly knife, and eventually it made its way. We
Okay.
just have to figure out the right way to do it.
Favorite things in the battle pass this time around, if you have any.
There's a lot of those cards from the cinematic, which is pretty cool. I'm really proud of
Oh,
the
that
team
connecting
for
card,
like,
yeah.
usually like we're a little behind with our battle pass content compared to like other stuff going on, but this
Never.
time the team, a little bit, this time they really nailed it and they like got a bunch of cards in there. So I like the Omen Sage one where he's like working on the tree and she's like,
Oh my god.
yeah, and the Yoru with his bike. Holy crap. I'm
Oh,
really
with the slide.
Yep.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Somebody was using that, and I was like, "You want to get the bike?" There's like all these motorcycle connections coming in here. Perfectly fine with it. Keep
Oh
them
yeah, you
coming.
like motorcycles, yeah.
Just love that. What about you?
I like the sprays, the flash spray in particular, the randomized one. That's my experience every time. It's just like, who am I going to get flashed by? Usually it's this one.
Yeah, it's
Same
true.
thing,
Yeah.
I Omen blind him a lot too.
It's easy. You're like, I'm right next to you, and then yeah.
He runs in front of me.
We're there. We make those things happen to ourselves. We're gonna jump to community questions real quick.
Yeah.
Give back bundles.
Oh
Bring
wait,
back old gun buddies.
yes. So here's the thing.
Oh, you jump. I'm ready for this.
I-
Let's do this.
So there's a lot of accessories that like even we've missed, right? Like for me, it's the air horn. Or what is it for you? What do you? Oh
I
wait, it
also
was the
missed
same
the air
pass.
horn.
You missed the air horn. I forgot to buy it. The My Eyes.
My Eyes
Yeah.
spray. Yeah.
So there's just like stuff we've also missed in the accessories, and I'm like, God damn, how did we get this back? And I get players asking me like, Are you in a break? And I'm like, I would really love to, because I would like to get that too. I feel you. We are going to find a way to bring back some of that old stuff in a way that feels good without making people who've already earned it, got that exclusive stuff, feel bad. So working on it, no promises when or how or whatever, but want to eventually bring back some of the old accessory content like sprays, buddies, cards, titles.
Sweet. I like it. Anything else on that? No? Good?
No, mostly
Perfectly answered.
Most of these sprays. That's my
Love it.
biggest thing. Is like I can never get enough of them. I'm always changing them out. I
Mm-hmm.
always want to find like the best things to combo with other players. One of the other members of the team, she has the googly eye sprays currently, and I'll always put something. She'll put it on top of it. We'll see if it works, and so it's fun to make combos.
Oh. How is that not already a thing?
What?
Shaped sprays.
What do you mean?
Run sprays as a team. Like, what
Oh,
spray
yeah,
are you
yeah.
using? And
Oh,
then just
yeah, yeah.
manufacture it artwork
Yeah,
on
yeah.
the wall when you win the round. I just forgot what spray I was going to say that I let use. But moving on. We did say, have you considered just making fists as melee? Yes. Question, what's the right click though? Is it like,
So
The
we
whole-
actually, it used to, I mean, there were 2 different fists we used to have. There was, I mean, this is, again, old stuff. It's not actually, but Raze, I think we talked about this before, used to have like a big fist thing that would right-click and actually break the doors on Ascent in one right-click. It was like a heavy thing. It was
Whoa.
very exclusive to Raze. That was cut years ago.
Giving some people brawler abilities here.
Yeah, Jet used to have a knife that you would throw, and then when it was gone, you could go pick it up. But then when you didn't have it, you would punch and do all that kind of stuff. So we've experimented with all of that kind of stuff. We're trying to figure out again, have we done it in the past? If it didn't work, why? And then can we improve it in some way? So
Very cool.
Yeah.
Interesting. Plans for more 2.0 skins.
So I'm not going to leak a 2.0, but I'll tell you what 2.0s I want to see.
Okay.
I'm already ready for more Araxes, to be honest. I've been begging him. I'm like,
I saw
can
some-
we plan more Araxes?
there were some comments, yeah. This morning,
Phantom.
everyone, like the day that
Phantom
it's dropped,
Menaces.
people are like, "Oh, I want more," which is good.
Yeah.
It's good to hear.
That is true. That's exactly what you want.
Yeah.
A Raxus Karambit now.
Wait, what do you want to see? to be
I would
honest?
probably want to see more Gaia's Vengeance. I really like that bundle. I was sad that I missed out on it when it came out. I don't know where I was. I happened to like get them through the rotating store, and I'm
Yeah,
like,
yeah.
that would be a nice one to have like the full complete.
See,
set.
even they don't have rig stores either. They have to
No.
wait.
Don't.
They have to
He
wait.
bought the melee full price in the rotating store.
Yep,
Yeah,
it's good. It's good.
the axe.
Sometimes you have to.
Yeah.
Sometimes we make
Yeah.
those commitments.
I'm waiting for night market.
And then they said they're working on pink skins.
Non-edgy.
Non-edgy pink skins. But what if you turn the tables and did edgy pink skins? What's the
It's
problem
not,
with edgy?
it's not what people are asking for.
Okay.
Yeah, yeah.
Every skin bundle that releases, we get flooded with comments being like, "Why no pink? Why no pink?"
Right. Yeah. It's
so,
all those.
So
a
we
lot.
know. We know. But I think the big thing we've looked at, right, is we've done a lot of like fantasy, sci-fi, very like edgy, mature kind of thing. Like we want to try and find a lighthearted spin on some skins just to give some variety. It might not have to be like dominantly pink, but I think lighthearted, whimsical,
Yeah, yeah,
like
yeah.
those are the things that we kind of like think about when we're making things like that.
April Fools, every gun has just neon lining and pink, like
It's just glowing.
yeah, like a neon bar sign.
yeah.
Yep, there you go, just like that. Anything else you would love to get out to the community before we end the show today? Final thoughts? Anything you got?
I hope everyone enjoys Araxis as much as the
Yeah.
hype. Like we see the hype on like Twitter and Reddit and everything like that. So I'm curious to get it in game, play with other people, see what they react to. That's always one of my favorite things. Is actually like in game, I will like ask people when I'm playing, like, oh hey, you bought that skin. What do you think of it? And get some feedback that way. So yeah, it's just fun to interact that
On
way.
Canada feedback, they don't know who they're talking.
Yeah.
Oh yeah, we get to be anonymous when we play. Like I like, I almost turn into like a little researcher when I'm playing. I'm like, where'd you get that? Whose skin is this? Why this pairing? Why this buddy with this gun
Do
skin?
you always try to get someone to drop it for you at the beginning of the round?
Who, us? I mean, I always drop. I'm more than happy
I'm
to
always
drop
a
my
drop,
stuff.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Like, who's got skin? I'll give.
I'll make them like pay for it though, right? Like I'll request, then I'll toss
Oh,
it for them.
absolutely.
And I love to like trade with people. He gets mad at me because I'll like meet in mid with like the enemy to trade. I don't know why it makes you mad.
Because we're in the middle of a competitive game, and you're just like, oh hey, let's have like a social moment, which is fine every now and then, but it's every game.
It devolves a bit
You're
from
like, hang
there.
on, bring it down a second. We're just gonna trade a mid and then go back to normal.
Yeah, yeah, and then
It
somebody.
increases the intensity.
Well, I don't
Which is
know. It's,
sometimes
I
good.
think those are the moments I remember, right? When I make a friend on the enemy
You need
team.
proximity chat.
I do.
Yeah.
That would be great. Yeah.
Yeah. Did you hear that?
No, I didn't. I didn't. We only work on skins in the store and stuff. No. I didn't promise
Oh,
any proximity chat. No. I take it back.
Oh my word. Preeti, Sean, thank you so much for joining me here today. Happy New Year. Thank you again. That's going to be it for the show. We did maps. We did narrative. We did some Battle Pass content. Thank you to Joe, Joey, David, Tim. Kim couldn't make it, so it's Tim, not Kim, and Sean and Preeti. I'm Rivington. Be sure to check out the VOD. Episode 6 going to be out tomorrow. Don't miss the Valorant. It's going to be some Lotus. Splits back 2. It's going to be amazing. Oh my word, everybody. I'm just going to go home and play now. I cannot wait. Take care. Have a good one.